12 months ago when we did our tech talk for Pedders Suspension and Brakes here at the Australian Rally Championships second round, the Forest Rally, we talked about the trademark ball bearing surface. But in 2025, we've had a very rare occurrence, and that is rain. The roads are much damper than what we are ordinarily used to. So firstly, let's show you what we mean when we talk about the ball bearing surface. This is what typically lines the top of the roads here, Dean.
And it still exists, believe it or not, it's still there, but under the surface of that. So you imagine when we say ball bearings and why it's so unique, nowhere else in the world has this sort of format of gravel. And like I said, you put this all together in loose conditions when it's dry, super slippery. Almost, they say, worse than being on ice.
You're kind of rolling over the top, are you? Yeah.
So imagine our rally tyre, which is a little, it's got some grooves to it, etc. It's trying to bite through that, and you can imagine scrambling for grips. Why four-wheel drive cars are efficient, rear-wheel drive cars like that one are obviously difficult to steer in those sort of parts. What tends to happen though when the rain comes, not too much rain though, is it binds it together along with the dirt. And imagine a little bit like flour in the kitchen. It's loose on the surface of the table. You add a little bit of moisture to it and it binds it together. So there's a sort of almost the first part of rain adds it that you can actually add grip, believe it or not. So adding some water adds a bit of grip, but then add a little bit too much under the trees or doesn't get any sun, and we get clay and we get inconsistent conditions, which is what we've been hearing all day from everybody.
So let's take a little bit of a look at that. We can almost give you a bit of contrast here between what we would ordinarily see. And then over here, this is how the road condition has almost changed, if you will. So it's had a couple of nights of rain, a bit of water has soaked in. When we're running our stages, very often we'll run a sequence of stages twice over the course of the day, so they do tend to get a bit cut up. And the challenge for the drivers is then where you're looking for grip, where you place the car, and road position might actually be better served in the wet up front than you would like in the dry.
Exactly. So you've got all these inconsistencies to deal with, and particularly when the weather's intermittent like it has been the whole time. While we've been here, we've been at the end of stage here, it's changed with the breeze. It's dried up a little bit. There's even a chunk of clay that's come off a car, which that then gets almost to create a slick on your tyre if it's too wet under the trees, etc. So you've got this sort of organic part of the West Australian forest, which makes driving a rally car even more difficult.
There you go. A little look at some of the unique conditions here at the Forest Rally in Western Australia. And in 2025, something a little rare. It's been damp and wet too.